Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Hey, Lauren.
Yeah.
I got out of the house yesterday.
I mean, shocking every time. You're right. Is everything okay? You went to the doctor? Something broke? How's your foot?
My foot's great.
Okay, great. He hurt his tootsill, everybody. It was soccer. I don't know what it was. Go on.
I was playing with soccer with a bunch of other adults and tore my plantar fascia.
Thank you.
And so
you're old. How do you know you're in your 40s without saying you're in your 40s with thing? You know the word plantar fascia? Fascia. Go on.
No Gen A or Gen Z knows what the plantar fascia is.
No.
Zero.
I mean, I'm super young, so I still don't know what it is. Go on.
You have to be millennials or above to know what the plantar fascia is. Or taking like biochem or in med school.
Yeah, totes. So you got out of the house. Where did you go?
I went to Creator Economy Live East, which is acronym CEL or CEL. But
Thanks. I needed that as a piece of the description of your day yesterday. Thanks for the acronym. Cool. How was it?
And it's an offshoot of Creator Economy Live.
Just side note that like Josh and I, like we definitely go to a lot of events, sometimes together, sometimes apart. But I feel sometimes if I can't go, like, you know, I feel like I'm represented because like Josh is there. And he's coming back with the acronym as the big takeaway. Go on.
One of my best bits of the day was someone introduced themselves and I asked what they did. His name was DJ. He has this really cool startup. And he said, "Oh, I have an AI matchmaking startup." I'm like, "What's AI?" I've heard of the matchmaking part of this. I totally get, but explain to me the AI.
Josh's other favorite bit as it relates to me, because it always comes back to me, is he'll be at one of these events. People are like, "Where's Lauren?" And he'll be like, "We're no longer speaking." It's like his
another fantastic bit.
It's like a great bit. Okay, keep going.
So it is an offshoot of Creator Economy Live West, which happens in Vegas in January, which itself is an offshoot of Affiliate Summit West, which is this huge affiliate marketing conference. It's put on by Clarion Events, big multinational events company. And they then also have this Affiliate Summit East, which happens in New York in August. So for the past 2 years, they've put on this Creator Economy Live East. It's a nice one-day gathering of mostly influencer marketing agencies and technology with brands in attendance to speak and maybe just like a sprinkling of creators and executives and managers and agents.
I feel like
more so on the influencer marketing tech side.
I mean, obviously influencer marketing, it relates to creators, but do you kind of feel like now we're in the phase of the creator economy where people are just like slapping the name creator on things and like they're being like, we're ahead of the curve. We're like, you know, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, this would have been called like the influencer marketing conference. You know what I mean? It's like Creator Economy Live. It's like, is it?
I was talking with someone at the event about this. Now that every conference is basically a creator conference, like Social Media Week is a creator conference, Advertising Week is a creator conference, Creator Economy Live is obviously creator conference. And yes, I think before, like it did spin off from Affiliate Summit. So 15 years ago would have been called Affiliate. 5 years ago would have been called Influencer. And now it's called Creator.
Yeah. They're all marketers. They know what they're doing, but I'm just saying, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like, I mean, it's okay. Sorry, it was all right. Okay, that's what I'm getting.
It was nice to get out of the house. And some of the brand reps that were there, I saw in this one panel. It was called Measurement Frameworks for Smarter Influencer Investment. Ali Hartman from Keurig Dr. Pepper, Jennifer Brown from Shein, Mallory Kunze from Expedia Group, and Anna Spitzer from Church & Dwight. Do you know what Church & Dwight does?
I don't think so.
No one in the room did either. And so Anna Spitzer has this whole line for it. She's like, you may have heard of one of our biggest brands, Arm & Hammer, which has something like a 90% recall rate. Like 90% of people surveyed know what Arm & Hammer is.
Huh?
It's in everybody's,
I mean, it's been around for 100 years. I mean,
refrigerator, kitchen, etc.
Sure.
So came away with that tidbit. And they were talking about, obviously, measurement in the influencer marketing area. And I was, to the discussion we just had, really kind of blown away by how big this industry has gotten, where I think you and I still, at least for me, part of my mind still lives in this world of like 10, 15 years ago, where you could fit everyone in the space into a bar on a Thursday afternoon or evening at Busby's. And now it's just massive, where you have these individuals from these huge global conglomerates and brands that are working with creators and talking about how they're working with creators in a sophisticated, refined way that's been proven out through years of now trial and error. And the efficacy that they're getting from creators is just wild to see how far this industry's come.
Well, I also think, there's a level of, I don't know, suspicion is the right word. Whereas again, in like, call it 2021-ish, when there was so much, my favorite word, the phrase that I learned, entrepreneurial tourism in this space, where so many people were showing up with checks and creating companies that the vast majority of which don't exist anymore in the space, and they've gone on and now they're doing other things. And so there's just this sense of like, these people are just going to be here to try to make a buck, and then they're going to go somewhere else. So who knows? And then there's like people like us who evidently like can't go anywhere. So there's we're still showing up. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I think what it proves is like, when that all sort of that 2021 sort of influx of capital into the industry happened, and people are, the creator economy is dead. It's like we were, go back and listen. We were like, it ain't dead, but like it was just the wrong money at the wrong time and the wrong investments. That doesn't mean that this is not a viable industry. And so we're sort of on that path right now, right? Like people are back, people are here, people are doing conferences and stuff like that. But like a lot of these people will come and go, and then we'll still be here.
I think it's different now, where this feels like a very stable groundswell.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much more stable. It feels more like a stable groundswell for sure. But I still feel like they're just chasing whatever's hot in the moment. But yes, it's much more stable. It doesn't feel like because it's not the same thing. I mean, there's money coming into the market, but it's not
right. It's from brands who want to spend their advertising dollars in the most efficient way possible and have been trained to do that, and individuals at those brands that want to keep their jobs by spending the brand's advertising dollars in the most efficient way possible. And just more brands getting into it now because their advertising dollars aren't as well spent on other platforms. So it makes total sense. And it just really feels like this is the beginning.
Yeah.
Again.
I know. Before we get to the big stories, want to make note that we are interviewing today Caspar Lee, creator, entrepreneur, all around just Renaissance man. Very excited for everybody to hear that interview.
It's a good one, Lauren.
All right, let's get to some big stories. If you know me, if you know this podcast, she loves a platform change that might seem small, insignificant to some, and it also might seem like it has one functionality. Yet what will happen is the community, the creators, etc., will use it in various ways. So Instagram has done some interesting things this week. The biggest thing is that there are two big things. Number one, they have launched their first native feature for sharing someone else's content to your profile with full distribution power. So just zooming out, TikTok, right? What are they really good at? It's distribution and discovery, right? Like that's where you go right now, typically as a creator on day one, if you've got nothing, because the distribution, the magical Chinese algorithm will get you the numbers. You won't really make any money there. So like you will either like lean heavy into brand deals and or then jump to other platforms. But like the YouTubes and the Instagrams of the world are kind of losing those first day creators, right? And they obviously want you from like beginning to never ending. And so what this is allowing to do, historically, you could only share like a post. I'm talking about a feed post to your stories, which is of course ephemeral. It's not there all the time, or to somebody's, DMs. I could message it to you, but I couldn't natively post it on my grid. Now there were tons of third-party apps that were created to allow this functionality, but because it wasn't native to the platform, it wasn't something that was done sort of across the board or done easily on Instagram. Now that they're allowing for that, the sort of trickle-down effects of that is potentially a massive amount of discovery and distribution, right? So you can just think of any random example. You're a big creator. I can put something on my feed that then is there forever, and it will allow for smaller folks to sort of get discovered, right? So the reposts will now have their own tab in your profile, and it's much like TikTok's reposts. Instagram has a very significant history of sort of taking features from other platforms, specifically Snap, and making it a big thing on their own platform. And Stories, of course, is the biggest example of that. They have now launched a Snapchat-style location map in DMs. It's opt-in, it's not real time, but I think one of the reasons this is significant is Snap is historically, used by especially like sort of the younger teenager generation as like, their messaging tool. And, with this location service, And Snap Map, you know, it's very powerful for people to be able to like share where they are and, you know, whether it's a live event, an emergency, a celebration, whatever it is, it's a way for sort of the communication between folks to like really be heightened. And that's historically where Snap has really sort of dominated. And this is sort of Instagram's attempt to like get into that space even more.
Yeah, I think to that point, Lauren, Snap Maps make the experience of being on Snapchat and seeing what your friends are up to just a lot more, adds just more color and texture to it. It makes it more tangible. The look and feel of it is one that just brings you closer to those friends' experiences. And a number of Instagram's product updates, especially recently, have been along the lines of trying to make some more connective tissue between you and your friends on the platform, especially in regards to it being a messaging app, because that's where they lose a lot of market share to Snap. It's also worth noting that when this feature was first announced, there were some privacy concerns about you exposing your location when you didn't mean to. If you're snapping from your house, then people might know where you live, etc. Instagram is saying the feature is opt-in only in real time. So that should assuage most of the privacy concerns. If others come up, I'm sure they'll be able to squash those relatively quickly, because this could be a cool app, again, to create some more connective tissue between your friends on the platform.
Just a quick word on like the opt-in versus it being default on, it being default off. I'm just such a big believer in friction. I think it is such an underestimated. It's funny. It's like it's not underestimated if you're working in UI because you know how much that like can detract people from doing things or not doing things. Yet so many of these features have been opt-in and to the detriment of teens and this and that. But it's like I've recently installed way too many apps on my phone that allow that sort of like monitor my time spent. And so most of my phone, like I have to literally be like, okay, are you going to ignore your time limit for today and press like 2 buttons? And it detracts me, not all the time, but like, let's say, even if it's 50% of the time, like it makes you pause, it makes you think. And so I just think I like to pause on those kind of moments because those are one of those things that it's like a little thing, but it's a psychological thing. And it being, I don't know, I just think about we were talking a lot about sort of teen safety and all that sort of stuff. And I think this is, it's a critical component that it is opt-in.
Friction is a great thing. And I think this also shows that these platforms are getting wise to what people actually want instead of just trying to get growth at all costs from their users.
I think they're being backed into a corner. I think it's like, yeah.
Maybe they prefer not to do this, but at least they're being hit with sticks enough to know that they should.
Totally.
And then with the advent of Repost here, I think it's going to be incredibly fascinating to see how this plays out. Lots of these types of product developments have these unintended consequences, like when Instagram released trial reels, as presumably when they first launched it, it was a way for individuals to test out new types of content on their Instagram channels that would be sent out to not their subscribers, but other users on Instagram. They could then see how those trial reels performed and then decide whether or not they wanted to send it out to their subscribers. Again, for the purposes of creating some new style of content or some format that they think their subscribers may not be into, but that they really want to test. And how it became used was basically put up a bunch of old Instagram reels that crushed it, put those out as new trial reels, have it go out to a whole new audience that isn't in your subscriber base, and then never send it to your subscriber base. And you get this total inflow of new subscribers, this like free ad basically from Instagram that wasn't going to mess up your feed at all. So it'll be cool to see how Repost actually gets used. Right now, there's no other easy way to shout out another creator on Instagram. So if you're a huge creator calling out a smaller one, yes, you can post it to your stories, but this can be much more effective. So I think we'll start to see some like smaller creators start to get shout outs from bigger ones and start to explode because of that. Like their trajectory, their Vogue interview, Tube Filter interview, Hollywood Reporter interview, Variety interview in a year will be like, oh, I initially got called out by this creator, this artist, this musician, this actor. They reposted my stuff, and then it was kind of game over from there.
Okay, one other big thing I want to talk about platform-wise is YouTube is giving some sort of channels what one might deem a Netflix makeover, for lack of a better kind of terminology. So as we mentioned before, the fastest growing service for YouTube is connected TVs. And so what that really does is puts it in the sort of same growing similar playing field to like a Netflix, right? Which where you obviously can watch on your computer, your phone, or your TV. And so in order to sort of what I would argue to sort of synthesize those experiences is some channels on web have actually gotten some sort of a makeover that make it look a bit more Netflixy, for lack of a better word. So couple things. So the new UX is it sort of looks more like a streaming service. Like I said, there's episode descriptions, watch now buttons, shelves of scheduled content, more dynamic homepage, featured video area, cycles through top videos with large thumbnails and overlays, view count length, etc. Programming schedule channels can showcase upcoming content up to 12 hours in advance. Enhanced organization, playlists, and show groupings now have descriptions, making navigation and discovering easier. Law and Crime, the number one trial channel on YouTube. We recently had their president on the podcast, Rachel Stockman. They are one of the channels that, this is not rolled out to everybody, but they are one of the channels that is displaying this new UI. Josh, what do you think about this?
Lauren, I love this. First of all, the feature is called Shows. It's currently viewable, at least according to YouTube, by 10% of YouTube users in certain locations. And it's available to an even smaller subset of YouTube channels. Like you said, our friends at Law and Crime were one of the channels in this initial subset of test creators. And what you can do is if you can go to their channel and you're in the beta, you can see that it's a dramatically different layout with these huge, big carousel images, little blurbs about the video you're going to watch. And it looks much more like what we'd think of as a television style viewing experience. And because of that, more premium. And I think YouTube is doing this for a few different reasons. One, to create a more premium quality viewing experience, regardless of viewing device. So whether you're on TV, whether you're on mobile, whether you're on desktop, for channels that have shows that can be organized like this, you're going to get a much more just quality, seemingly premier viewing experience. Why is that important? Because that's going to just make YouTube overall seem like a more premier quality video sharing site, which is going to lead to more advertising dollars, which is going to lead to better advertising rates. The second thing it does is it gets creators to think about their content in terms of episodes, seasons, and show style formats. Why does YouTube want to do that? Because as it continues to dominate YouTube viewership, I mean, it was at 12.5% of total US television consumption in May. That's according to Nielsen. So as YouTube continues to get that percent share of television viewership up, it wants to have as much content as possible for that screen. Why again? Because that screen commands higher advertising rates. And so it wants creators to really think about their programming in this context. And the third thing this does is it really trains creators in the back end. So you can organize your content into shows in the YouTube studio, and YouTube wants creators to kind of do the heavy lifting here. So when it does transition this format to television screens on the YouTube app, it's a seamless transition where creators have already done all the hard work of organizing their content into these shows and episodes with certain descriptions, certain type of images, etc., so that it can easily port over to the television. And then you could be watching YouTube the same way, same feel, the same UX, the same design,
right?
Very similar that you could be watching Netflix or any of these other, quote, premier streaming services.
It's just so funny. I just feel like it's like, it's not even cut to 5 years. It's going to cut to like a year or two. And like, it's just like everything, it's what is old is new again. Everything is cable. Everything is streaming. Everything looks the same. It's like we're paying way more than we ever paid with cable from all these different streams. I mean, we already are. And YouTube is, it's just interesting too, because the evolution about how like YouTube got to this place. Because of course there was historically the originals team that came in to do like more premium programming. And then it's like they had to go through that to realize like, actually there already is premium programming on YouTube. And this is a platform that needs to come natively from the sort of creators, not without YouTube support, but like not necessarily with an originals team. Although I have no doubt that there will be another originals team at some point if this continuing in this trajectory of like sort of looking like a Netflix. Like it just feels like that's probably going to happen again. But I also think that like what people don't realize is like historically it's actually been really hard to find series on YouTube. I knew somebody a long time, not even that long ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, that was sort of trying to create, like, he was using the YouTube API to like find the sort of web series and like, organize them. And then it was like, then the API was like cut off because YouTube was like, you're not allowed to do that, basically, which is a whole other story. But it's actually been like not organized that well, and like not conducive to like that kind of viewing experience. And so should they want that viewing experience, they have to make these kind of changes.
Yeah, like if you're watching a video from a creator, the next video you get in many cases is not another video from that creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's in a sequential kind of series or lineup. So
Yeah.
that's what they're hoping to do with this as well, is shows will have a higher probability of being served to viewers in that sequential kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Lauren, so excited about this interview with Caspar. Such a refined South African gentleman living in England now.
Nothing if not refined. Yes, I've known Caspar for a long time. I met him my memory from first meeting him was at Summer in the City, which was sort of the UK's answer, because he's based in the UK, has been for a while. God, if it was 2016, maybe something like that. Long time ago. Yeah, with like Zoella. Remember Zoella?
And he's, of course, who doesn't remember Zoella? He's had this
Obviously.
incredible career, first as a creator. He had over 15 million subscribers across all of his social networks, almost 7 million subscribers on YouTube, and was among the top YouTube creators in the world at a certain point.
Yeah.
Especially during this kind of like second wave UK invasion of all these YouTube vloggers back then.
Yeah.
That were so big.
Yeah.
And what he was able to do is transition all that experience, expertise, probably revenue that he made as well, into just a broad set of these entrepreneurial endeavors that we get into, including the influencer marketing agency, influencer.com, MVE, which is a talent management joint venture with WME, and the VC firm Creator Ventures, which recently raised its second fund with $45 million. So now with all their assets under management, they have about $65 million across their two funds, have invested in companies like Beehive, 11 Labs, and more. I mean, he's doing great so far. So it was really a pleasure to talk to him. Excited for y'all to hear it. Caspar, thank you so much for being here on the podcast.
Lovely to see you again. Last time I saw you, we were in the back of a Sprinter van and I felt trapped.
Not because of me, just in general.
We were in Cannes Lions, or we're at Cannes Lions, for Cannes Lions. Yeah, we were at a Beehive party actually, which is an amazing company that I've managed to become an investor in through Creator Ventures. So got to hang out with Tyler, which was really cool. He's a great CEO. And then I was whisked away into a van for an interview, and you were the culprit, I think.
No, I was not. Brendan Gann was the culprit.
Oh yeah,
Please.
you weren't even. Oh, so you were being interviewed as well.
I was being interviewed as well.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I
That's
was
horrible.
also,
That's horrible that I said that was you. If it wasn't.
I was also trapped inside the van, but we made the most of it. It was a nice air conditioned respite from the humidity of Cannes.
Yeah, that's true.
In the mountains at a beautiful Beehive party. Any case, great to see you again. I really just want to dive into it. You've been a YouTube creator in a past life. Very successful YouTube creator in past life, millions of subscribers, one of the top creators in the world for a period of time. And now you're off doing all these other business ventures. Kind of like, what phase of the creator economy do you think that we're in? You've had this interesting bird's eye view, this POV from a bunch of different phases in your career. So I think you have just particular insight here into kind of tell us where we're at right now.
Yeah, it must be around 6 or 7, phase 6 or 7. Like, if you think about it, we had your Freds. Do you remember Fred? Hi, it's Fred.
Yes.
Then I'd say we're like second phase. I managed to be in like second and third phase maybe. And then yeah, you've had a few creators who came in between, 4th, 5th. Yeah, so I think like 6th now, and we're going back towards more kind of relaxing long form content. But there was a time when everything became really hyperactive, short, quick. And I know we do it all, obviously you get it all online, but I think like what I'm starting to see is people just like starting channels as like truck drivers, or someone doing a 3-hour what it's like on my holiday with me video. And like, it's going more towards that kind of phase where I was doing YouTube, which is exciting because I love to watch that kind of content.
And then what about from a business perspective?
In terms of phases, I mean, yeah, we're seeing a lot of brands now thinking about social media and creator marketing as like the number one priority for them. You know, you're hearing companies like Unilever's CEO doubling down on influencers. You're seeing creative for massive campaigns starting on social media and going out. At Canline, I was really lucky to be part of the social and creator jury, and there were just incredible campaigns from the world's biggest brands who now really understand each platform, why they should be on it, how they should do it. And so yeah, we're going into that phase of people now get it. They're now putting the accelerator on in terms of the amount of money they're spending on it. But with that also means there's a lot more scrutiny and competition in the market.
Is this a relatively new shift? Like, have you seen a definitive acceleration since Cannes, or is this a gradual kind of uptick over the last few years?
It feels gradual, but it's obviously, it's just every year it just gets bigger and bigger. We've been talking about it for a long time, and I'm surrounded by people who talk about it. So for me, it's hard to see it as a new thing, because every year for 10 years we've been talking about it at all these events. But you're really seeing action now starting, well, not even starting to happen. You're seeing it getting to full throttle. And so it's super exciting to be kind of at the center of that and helping our clients at influence and navigate it and really start to think like creators. And I think in general, businesses are, you know, going through this transition. Brands, not only creators and within media, but businesses are starting to have to be entrepreneurial with how they are. And I think creators are a great example for that. So we're excited to help them, obviously, when it comes to content, but just to think more like creators is something we're excited to do too.
And what does that mean, really, to think like a creator? What are you telling all the brands that you work with as influencer? Is there like a standard kind of commandments of how to operate?
A way we like to help our clients operate is to be a lot more agile, and especially on social media, because it's so important to have speed. And so as one of the kind of the larger independent influencer marketing agencies, I think our clients are really excited to work with a team of people who can literally react at a moment's notice, but also change minds and be flexible. And that's like a very creative first thing, but it's also a very entrepreneurial thing that we love to do at Influencer. Obviously, we also are trying to help brands when it comes to letting go a little bit of the idea that you have to control every single thing that is being said about your brand. People are understanding that, but you can't just tell them to completely let go and not care at all, because that can also end in problems. So having that delicate balance of letting go, but also having like the safety net and the technology to be able to vet the creators you're working with and the kind of content you're doing. So those are like two kind of highlights I would call out. But then the other thing we're trying to do is just like help educate them on the nuances of all the platforms and just social in general, what's trending now. Like, creators are so good at understanding and having instinct, and brands are, you know, that maybe as a brand, you've worked at one company and now you've come to a new company and it's a whole new challenge. Whereas a lot of creators have been doing what they've been doing for many years. And so we try and help with data and AI to like educate the people we're working with on exactly where they should be looking within social, what kind of trends they should be jumping on, and how they can really go from strength to strength on social.
So there's been this idea that in the future, all these brands are going to have kind of in-house creators that work on their teams. And you're kind of a living example of that in a way, where you, again, were this top creator and then are running an influencer marketing agency at Influencer, running a VC as well. And I'm wondering, what kind of superpowers does that give you? And then do you see more and more brands trying to bring creators into the fold? And if they do, are those the ones that are generally more successful?
I think so. I think, you know, what I have maybe that someone else who has an influence marketing agency maybe might not have is I just have the confidence in my abilities to know what I'm looking at on social media. And I think when you do it from the very ground up, where you starting to make videos like 10 years ago, or for me, it was like 15 years ago. And then you have to learn what doesn't work, what does, what works now, what didn't, what's going to work in the future. Like, you just have this confidence built in where you're able to make decisions without having to, ask every single person what they think. And sometimes when you're making group decisions, it can lead to poorer outcomes. So I think it's just like that instinct and that confidence. But at the same time, not I guess getting too confident, because it's also important to not overstate your own intelligence. When especially on social media, every single day can be humbling experience. Like, sometimes there's something I do think is going to work really well, and it just doesn't perform. And that's the other thing, like, people need to understand when they're doing influencer marketing. Like, when you're working with a bunch of creators, like, not every single piece of content is going to work. But if you work with enough and you've invested across and diversified where you're going to get results from, then you're going to do really well.
And so what about from a investment perspective? Full throttle from a strategy perspective seems, from what you're telling me, is thinking more like a creator, being more nimble, letting go, and just having a more kind of innate invested insight into what's going on in this ecosystem. What does it mean from an investment POV? I mean, you have to give me numbers that are actually coming through influencer. You can if you want, but like, what did kind of campaign sizes used to look like even a couple years ago, and what do they look like now?
So they used to range from very low kind of figures, like 10K for a campaign, and they used to get up to like 500,000. And people would get very excited when you could do that sort of campaign. And yeah, now you're just seeing, them starting at those 500,000. Not every campaign, it depends, but like, companies who are like multinational big corporates are not spending £10,000 anymore. It's no longer a test budget. And so yeah, it's really good to see, because you can build seriously strong teams to help support them when they're using that kind of when they're working with that kind of budget. And then you can also invest in the creator economy, making sure that you're working with enough creators, and the creators you're working with are being paid to a standard they should be when you compare them to other media formats. And so yeah, it's been good to see. And then you're also just seeing the return on that investment just continuing to show off. And that's why every single person who's starting a brand today is thinking about social media marketing first.
You mentioned how the Unilever CEO said that he wants 50% of all marketing to go through influencer marketing in the future. Like, I've heard some people within the ecosystem in the industry say that that's not necessarily feasible because of the pipes and the infrastructure that currently exists right now. Deploying that much capital across this space might actually be too much for it to handle. Is that true? And what tools do we need to kind of smooth this road ahead of us so that this ecosystem can take on multiple billions of more dollars and invest it into influencer marketing?
I think the market will take care of itself. Obviously, if someone's spending too much money on a creator that's not providing any ROI, and they have the intelligence, I mean, these companies are very smart. They're not just, even though they're saying they want to do it, they will, that could be an aim, but they're not just going to do it and just like hope. Right. And so I think ultimately the market and capitalism in that way will take care of itself, because yeah, with great budget comes great responsibility, and you're going to have to, as an agency or as a good agency or as a good creator, you're going to have to prove why you should be paid these fees. And the question maybe as well is, are there enough creators out there to handle this sort of rise in budget? And yeah, I would say there definitely are. I think it's not, creators are one thing with an audience these days, but then you have like platforms like TikTok that makes like so many more people creators. And I think it's going to be exciting to see a lot of the kind of that style of creator be able to have access to budget and see what kind of content that they can make.
And then your role here, influencer, gives you such an interesting purview over the ecosystem, in addition to your background as a creator, where you have this incredible insight that you can utilize at Creator Ventures to invest in companies in this ecosystem. Just break down your basic thesis for us and kind of what you're looking at next.
I co-founded Creator Ventures with my cousin Sasha, who's an incredibly smart investor. we basically saw that a lot of founders wanted support when it came to their socials, when it came to working with creators. As I said, anyone starting a company today, especially anything consumer related, they want to understand how they can get eyeballs online, and creators are like the best way to do that. So you look at a company like Cluely, which I'm sure you've heard of recently, which the founders, just his whole strategy is build in public, like get tons of people to find out about you, and then you work on your product. That's one way of doing it. What we love to do is we find founders who have an incredible product. They're really good at technology, and they just would like a little bit of support when it comes to the social and creator side of things. And so yeah, we managed to invest in companies from 11 Labs to Practica to Beehive with Fund One, and we've had some great returns. We've had exits in companies like Wild Runner already in Fund One, and that was only like we launched that about 4 years ago. And Fund Two, we've started investing, and yeah, it's just so cool being able to sit down with founders who are so smart at what they do, but they maybe need some support with navigating TikTok, or they want to launch. This is the first time anyone's ever going to hear about them. How do they launch to the world, and how do they make their CEO like a creator? Because that's what they all want to think like these days. And so, yeah, we get to do a lot. I get to do a lot of that fun stuff, and Sasha's like a brilliant investor and can be so helpful in a number of ways with our portfolio companies. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
So not only cash, but the value add is if Creator Ventures invest in your company, you get this added benefit of this incredible insight into this ecosystem and expertise here that can be utilized to grow your company.
Exactly. And it's a lot of go-to-market stuff. So, anything from if they literally need help, designing their first website, their first marketing website, or they need branding services, or they need creative software, or comms and PR. We have people in all of those places, including obviously influencer marketing, creator, but where we've built this network of amazing people who can support. And I think, founders really value that part of it. And a lot of investors are maybe offering the same other stuff, whereas we're coming in with this angle, and we're also being hopefully really decent and good investors.
What are you excited about next? What kind of new wave are you seeing or are you interested in?
We've invested in a few great consumer AI application companies. I don't think that's brand new today. Everyone's been talking about this for the last couple of years, but I think people are starting to get really, really excited again about consumer. It's also exciting to see, people IPOing again, and so you're just seeing a lot of excitement and hype in general. With that, there's also obviously you got to remain patient. You've got to you've got to not get carried away. And we've seen these cycles before with Fund One. We've seen it in different ways, but I think AI is fundamentally changing so many consumer companies and products, and so yeah, we're super excited to be able to invest in some of the top ones.
This was great. Thank you so much for spending the time here. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, X. I do LinkedIn. So yeah, just search my name, Caspar. A lot of people spell it with an E. And love to chat.
And that's if I'm a founder looking for funding, a brand looking for some influencer marketing.
Yeah, just add me on one of those platforms. I'm very good at looking at my messages, so just message me wherever you can find me.
Awesome. Caspar, congrats with all you're up to. Thank you so much for being on. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you so much, Caspar. Thank you, Josh, for taking the reins on that one. Unfortunately, I had to miss the interview, but I've spent time with Caspar before, and I felt like he really needed to get in there.
Lauren, you're not the only one who's known Caspar for a while. I've known Caspar for a while too. We all get a lot of FaceTime with Caspar. Okay.
I don't think that's true. Okay, Josh, let's get to some uploads and downloads. I mean, we would be remiss. We haven't talked about Beast in a long time on this podcast. There was a certain point when we might have just, you might have just called us the Beast podcast because there was just announcement after announcement. And, we recognize that was a little bit much. We pulled back, but he's just been sort of chugging along, creating his $1 billion company, which is all fine and good. But he's just announced with Mark Rober, Team Water. Well, historically, you guys might remember in 2019, 2019, he and Mark Rober teamed up for the first time to raise $20 million to Team Trees. So they use that money to plant 20 million trees. And then 2 years after that, they created Team Seas, and they raised $30 million in a fundraising campaign to remove more than 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean. Now, partnering once again to launch Team Water. So the goal is to raise $40 million for clean water. So according to water.org, there are 2.2 billion people around the world who lack access to safe drinking water. And they are partnering with a company that sort of specializes in reverse osmosis. Go watch the video. It's amazing. And Mark Rober went to Kenya to see Give Power, this company called Give Power, which has a plant there. Most of the houses there don't have actual plumbing or any clean water. And so he went to this plant called Give Power that can change literally, and I'm not saying this facetiously, urine into clean water that one can drink. Watch the video. You might get a little taste of that, pun intended. This is amazing. And they're teaming up with a ton of creators to help this initiative go get to their $40 million goal, including Kai Cenat, Hank Green, Cleo Abram, and FaZe Rug. And I think they will get there, and quite fast.
It's a big Kevin Costner Waterworld reference there. It's amazing. It is incredible what these guys are up to. Also, what's worth noting is when they uploaded the video for this launch, it also was the first huge video to utilize YouTube's collaborations feature, which under the video on MrBeast channel, you can click where it usually says this video is uploaded by MrBeast. It says MrBeast plus others, and you can click on it and see all the other collaborators on the video. We're talking about means of discovery, means of big creators shouting out smaller creators, means of like brands getting into kind of like a different area and space on a creator's channel. This is going to be a huge feature for that. Lauren, quick upload from me. ESPN has hired a new correspondent, and it is Katie Feeney from TikTok. She has over 7 million subscribers on the platform. She has 3 million plus subscribers on YouTube. And I think this is interesting for a couple reasons. One, this TikTok to broadcast mainstream journalism pipeline. Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not. I think it should be noted that Katie, when she was at Penn State University, was studying broadcast journalism. So this has always been the goal for her. She was just using social media as a means to get there faster, which she very effectively used and did. But what I think this does show is the future of hiring at places like ESPN, where all other things being equal, of course, they're going to take the person with this type of social media following.
Yeah.
And Katie Feeney definitely deserves the job. I mean, she has been a correspondent for the Washington Commanders. She was heavily used in advertising and media for NFL Sunday Ticket. And she's been a constant creator in this space for several years now. So it'll be cool to see her at ESPN. It's also worth noting ESPN made this hire in the same week, or at least announced it in the same week, that they made this huge deal with the NFL, multi-billion-dollar deal where ESPN is going to get to show more NFL games in upcoming seasons, and the NFL is taking a 10% stake in ESPN. So a lot of exciting things going on here all at once, but cool to see Katie get this new gig. Excited to see what she does with it.
Okay, Josh, I think we did it.
Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you, I don't know, putting together some content for some LA Galaxy games so you can get this next gig at ESPN.
I'm working on it.
Not there next week. Creator Upload. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts as well, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.